call to order the Harbor Committee meeting for the town of Chincoteague for September 1st. Yay. Is there any public comment? Because I don't have a sign-up sheet in front of me, so I guess there is none. If you want to make a comment, come to the podium. I mean, I'm not going to be stuck on. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the next agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Vernon.
All right, guys. As you know, it's been a pretty busy summer. So we got the year-end fiscal reports on what we made last year. Subleasing was up. We actually made $60,000, a little over $60,000 on subleasing, and our annual is right around $102,000. That's pretty much stayed the same. We had a profit of $13,000 on the fuel system. Mike's going to be talking about the fuel system here in a little bit, but overall, we've not had no major problems, no more than normal. Everything's going pretty good, actually.
Now we've got the pumps up and running and
Yes, sir.
Wi-Fi taken care of and all that good stuff.
Yeah, everything's dependent on the internet, it seems.
Yeah. What we ever do before. Anyhow. Any questions of Vernon? Are we starting to see them drop off? Are they?
No, I mean, the harbor's still full, but the harbor's been full all summer. This week here was surprisingly slow. I thought it was. I think the tour boat guys will say the same thing. I don't know what the weekend's gonna be, but this week has been very slow as far as people, but the harbor's still full of boats, so, you know, fishing's been very good this summer. That's kept a lot of people in the water, the yearly guys kept a lot in the water. But like I say, you know, not had a whole lot of problems or nothing, and
Okey-dokey. Committee doesn't have any questions. I'll get Mike to talk about the Memorial Boat Ramp.
Thanks, sir. On August 11th, the mayor and I met representatives from the Corps of Engineers and representative of VMRC at Memorial Park, and we had laid out the new boat ramp before the day before on the ground, and let them take a look at the extent of it. They quickly determined how much impact the new ramp would have, and in about 30 minutes, we're happy with what we had done. I received yesterday from the Corps of Engineers and VMRC the advertisement that has to go in the newspaper for our permit. That'll be in the paper on September 8th, and it'll be in Beacon on September 8th. I expect after that, not too long after that, we'll receive our permit. I've contacted GMP, which is our engineers designing ramp, told them to go ahead and finish up the construction documents. I hope to have those within 30 days, and as soon as we get those, we'll snap a RFQ package on it, and we'll go out and advertise it for bid, so we can get that moving. In the meantime, I guess I should mention that we did close the existing boat ramp. We have reports of the ramp undermining, and we sent Vernon went down with I think Edwin, right? And they actually got out there and ran a pole up under the ramp, and it's undermined about 6 feet or so in one place. So we've closed the ramp so that no one will be injured or there's no property damage or anything pending repair. So we've put barricades across the entrance so no one will use it. We've also directed all the kayak companies to use the kayak launch instead of the boat ramp. So far, it seems to be working.
Good way to get them to use the launch.
Pretty much, yeah. And we've always said, or we've proposed that if that launch was, everybody liked that launch, we'd eventually get another one so that we have more capacity down there. I know one at a time is kind of cumbersome, but you know, at some point we probably could put another one just like that alongside. And that didn't take a whole lot to get permitted. And the Corps, when they were there on the 11th, took a look at the ramp and at the kayak launch, and they update on the ramp itself, we'll be waiting on the permit, which should be any day now, I hope. Given I say we hope, given the Corps of Engineers backlog. And GMD should be right along. They were nearly done with the design when we stopped them pending the permit. So hopefully this next 30 days or so this will push along.
Good. Any questions about the boat ramp or what's the process?
No.
Alrighty. Harbor fuel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as you know, we've had some difficulties with our pumps during the spring of the year. We've had Delmar Petroleum, who does the work on these. We've had them out a couple times. We found a few problems. We did correct those problems. One of the problems was related to the old pump. Apparently there was a sending unit in the old pump that sends counts the gallons and sends it over to the point of sale system, and it wasn't sending properly. So that was one of the issues. We did take care of that, and I'm happy to report that according to our new numbers, which I just got today, for July and August, so far we've made a little over $60,000 profit in the first 2 months of this fiscal year. So obviously we've got our problem under control. We've also instituted a new procedure at the harbor where we are taking tank readings daily, and we are comparing those readings with the sales from the day before, and they should compare closely. Vern is doing it every morning at the same time every morning, so we get consistent readings. We're also going to start in the near future actually sticking the tank so we can directly measure the level of fuel in the tank, which is a more common procedure. But we'll stay on top of that from here on out, so if there's any anomalies, we can jump right on that. And the solution will be, if we have any anomalies, is to close those pumps before, so we can get them repaired.
Yeah, if you close those pumps, you better send out notices because a lot of people use them. Holy cow.
Well, we'll do that, but if we have an issue, we'll close the pumps first. And send out notices.
What we did last time when we locked them, I called all the guys,
Yeah.
and I was down there I'm physically pumping for
Right.
them.
I mean, those things are so convenient, and it's
Well, it's the only one you can get anywhere around it. It's the only one on the water you can get.
doesn't Snug Harbor still have a pump somewhere?
I guess, I don't ever see nobody over there.
Well, he's probably charging an arm and a leg for it.
I don't know. I've never stopped there.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, do you know if Bob's is gonna put another pump in?
We don't know what they're doing, really.
We've seen some preliminary designs, but we were cautioned when we saw the preliminary design that this is all very preliminary, and I don't think there's anything set in stone yet on that. So.
Just in case we need a backup.
Sure. Well, we do have more than one pump and more than one product there. We only have one point of sale system. So.
Yeah.
The second point of sale system is manual, when the harbor master has to sit there and watch it.
All right. What's next?
Floating dock replacement. Some movement on that in the last few days. Back in June, back in May, EPA approved our application for grant funding to replace the last wooden pier at the harbor. As you know, we already have the dock sitting there, the material sitting there to replace the first wooden pier there, the one to the north. And we got approval in May to replace the one to the south. So both of those hopefully will be gone in the next several months. Once we got approval and the grant funding was assured, we called and finalized or had the manufacturer pre-price his estimate, which went up about $9,000 because cost of materials did since January when we priced it. I released that for design in June, and recently, Wednesday, got some little drawings back from the engineer for that. I approved those and sent them back this morning. So they are in for manufacturer now. They are also asking me for our deposit. but they are in for manufacture now, and now I'm asking for a delivery date, because if the delivery date is not held up, and last year the floats were they're the long lead item on this whole thing, and they were what held us up last year. But if they're able to deliver this material before Christmas, Vernon and I have decided we'll try to install everything at one time, both seasons at one time, get the contractor in there and get it all done at once, and save a few dollars in on mobilization, and have it all done. So that's the plan. Now, if he says, I can't give you a date, or we think it's gonna be after the first year or something like that, we may go ahead and do the first one that we have in the fall, get it done, and do the next one in the spring.
Right.
As we receive material.
Yeah, I know working on them, when was the last one put in January? Or, it was tough.
One
It was cold.
in January, and then we didn't receive this
The new
one on
one.
the dock now until May, wasn't it?
In June.
June.
Was it June?
How about the permits? Have we got the permits for them two docks?
We have permits for the first one, not for the second one, but the first one, we're good to go.
Well, replacement permits aren't, that's just paperwork. isn't it?
They're fairly simple, because they're all in a man-made harbor for one.
Yeah.
They know there's no impact, so they're kind of easier to get through. There's by the way, the new one, the new dock, the one that we just got, or I just approved today, there's a schematic of it on the board there. You'll see that all the finger piers on the top, that will be facing south. They are all 20 feet long. The ones on the bottom are facing north. Those are 25 feet long. So this is a small boat pier.
This is the last one?
That's, yes, sir.
The one
That's
further
right.
south.
Down by the fish plant, Texas.
Which I don't know, is water shallow or maybe in the slip.
It's plenty of water down there.
Yeah.
It shallows up when you get over close to the dock where the fish holds up. But it's plenty of
They'll be
water
all
there
right.
and slips.
I'm just wondering if 20 footers is enough, or if they both sides need to be 25. Seems like most boats these days are 20 foot and up. Well,
Most of the boats on that south side are like 18 to 20-foot boats.
yeah.
And they're all yearly rentals, so.
I know that one, she wasn't a Maycraft on the first pier that got put in. The boat fit, but it's got a,
The motor would extend.
no, it's not a motor. It's his anchor arm that sticks off. That's halfway out in the walkway. I mean, the boat fits fine, but then you've got an additional 4 foot of.
Wondering how long the slips stand there now.
25-foot slips on the south side and 30-foot slips on the north side of that pier.
Okay, so you're losing 5 feet either side, okay.
You're tying to the boat dock.
Yeah, right, so,
That's just one of those things. I mean,
I agree. I mean, I think too, like you're saying, even my pontoon boats are 25 foot. I mean, what's yours, 24? I mean,
yeah, and any more.
And you only have 30-foot slips.
and we hang out.
Because
See,
the motor
pontoons have an
extends.
issue because they have the angle with the bracket, which you can't avoid it because otherwise they separate. But, so pontoons have to stick back further than a monohull boat, which has the angled front. And so you're trying to put a pontoon into a 20-foot, you're actually gonna be sitting back 3 feet further back than that already. And then you're talking about hanging on, I'm just, if you could put a 25 in, or, against that break wall, putting a floating dock along that break wall, it wouldn't be that bad. Sorry.
You're good. I think we use that break wall sort of as an overflow when we have to use it. If we could just stop people from fishing off the end of the breakwater and throw
they'll learn.
Yeah,
learn.
it doesn't take them long if those
They'll
boats are
learn.
coming in sideways to get their gear out of the way.
But,
I've collected a few of them this year.
I had to put somehow fly back.
All right, is there anything else? Anything for the good of the order?
Well, if you have just a second, this is a crude picture, it's a crude drawing, but it's off the wall in my office. This is what we've proposed for the next EPA grant. And this would go at Robert Reed Park. The issue with Robert Reed Park, I think everybody understands, is all the wooden slips are perpendicular to the bulkhead and the tide, which makes it difficult to get in and out. This configuration would allow people to dock at this pier against the tide every time. Plus the piers would be, and the finger piers would be parallel with the direction of the tide. This is just something we sketched up in the office one day. We could, do a bunch of different things, but it would hold back at 12 vessels or so, depending on their lengths. There's room there for some transient slips for some larger boats, and docking along the pier right here, you can dock parallel with those. It's 100 foot. I mean, the dimensions are completely movable. We've not drawn this up yet. We've not proposed it yet. I just like everybody take a look at it. If you see something that can improve, bigger, smaller.
Well, my thought is we could probably put 2 of these along Robert Reed.
Probably good, easy, couple 100 feet.
Yeah, it's a couple 100 feet. I mean, but we have been renting those slips this season. It seems like we've had boats in there. So
We've also
there is
had some boats along the flat dock, just
Yeah.
north of that,
right.
some larger boats.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Sailboats cannot get in them slips, Cedar Lake.
No.
They don't have enough power.
Power.
And we pulled them poles out so they can get off against the bulkhead now. We actually have a 46-foot sailboat coming in next week.
I mean, you've got more larger boats this year than ever too. You've had 5 almost yachts come through here this year.
I say one guy talked to me just the other day, he had a 50-footer on the call.
So I think, like you're saying, more better. I don't think you can go wrong. If money's there.
Getting back to touch on them 20-foot slips, we have a lot of different clientele. And it seems like everybody on that backside, like I said, are 16, 18-foot boats. That's why we put,
Yeah.
you got to.
Give them some cushion against the
Yeah.
bulkhead.
And the next dock we're putting in, the one that's on the loading dock, that actually has 30-foot catwalk.
30s and 35s, like
Yeah, that's
that.
a long
Okay.
catwalk.
Yeah.
So, if there is an issue at one dock or the other, we'll have all sizes to accommodate just about anybody.
Mike, about how many slips do you think you could put there at the town dock?
At Robert Reed, well, that configuration would be 4 slips, 8 slips, 4 on each side. And we could make them so they could handle probably up to 50-foot boats by just lengthening the finger piers a little bit. And then, of course, the one main pier that's farthest out from the bulkhead, that's on, we just threw 100 feet on it. I mean, we could, depending on the size of the boat, you dock alongside that. You could even put, I suppose, you could put 80, 90-footer along there if you wanted to. Or several 20-footers or a couple 30-foot boats,
Better make sure your poles go in there pretty
Well,
healthy
that's
to hold that in place.
Deep
one of
there,
the
yeah.
questions I have is we've never put one of these really anywhere where there's a current.
Uh-huh.
They've always been in the harbor where there's not much action, so I've got to do some research on what kind of poles it's going to take to keep those rising and falling when they have a strong tide against them. So that's one of the questions I have.
When we went to Cape Charles, where it was a little bit more time, they had the big steel poles.
Right.
Little concrete filled.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's deep. When you get off of the shanty, it's like 18 feet of water there.
My only well, you have technically you have a little bit of a break with the old bridge sticking out, but you actually have have that big gut that goes all the way up in there too, where that's like, where I pulled the Martha in, when we had the event. And, there's a lot more room there than you realize too, I think, if you come in.
You mean right next to the old bridge?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could almost put something in there even, so you could extend it or move it. You could, there's a lot of room to shift that
That
around.
had to be dredged out, so.
And it's deep enough, I mean,
Mhm.
I didn't kick anything moving in there. I think I was reading, like, right up against the wall. I was still reading about 8, 9 feet. So for any smaller boats, it's fine. And if you're running boats, it's only like a beaver.
It's going to take a lot more of a pounding there.
Oh, my God, yeah.
The flow, I mean, really it is. Just from the tide and from northeasterly wind. Reason I'm historically, people had slips all up down the channel there,
Mhm.
recessed in, to
Right.
avoid northeasterly winds.
Right.
This is going to be stuck out there,
Yeah.
which means there's going to be a lot more stress on the dock itself, not mention the boats here. So I wonder if that's going to shorten the lifespan of the dock there. Also, if they're going to do this here, the tying this is something that gets brought up from the floor every now and then, is going to have to seek to have a no-wake zone established there to keep people, because you're not going to want to be there when someone's racing all up and down here.
No.
And I don't know how they'll go to people. I'm not worried about it myself with folks here, but it's just one of these little things here. Will
Yeah.
they take to it? Won't they take to it?
Right.
The BPA likes to see when we apply for these things, they'd like to see that what you're going to do is going to increase economic activity in the
Right.
city. So I think that's a no-brainer for Robert Reed, because, we're going to bring people downtown where shops are, where restaurants are, things like that. So I think that'll be a hit in that respect. And everybody else is going to talk to and run it by them, that would be
Mhm.
great, a place you can lay up to the dock and get off and go.
Well, that's not my concern here. I mean, it'd be nice to see activity and all that. It sure would be, but just having something how tendable it will be here.
How long has that floating dock that's out there been there? Been there a while.
A long time,
Mhm.
for over 10 years.
I mean, it's held up pretty
I
good.
guarantee you talk to the manufacturer, they're gonna wait that in there, and they don't have to worry about tying current or anything.
Well, people have done it before, so
They've done it before.
Yeah.
it's just a matter of how much.
Mhm.
And like Vernon said, it won't be, it may not be what we're used to here, but they put in a lot of structures other places. But
Someone asked about the first wooden pier we're going to replace. This is the schematic of the first wooden pier. This is what's sitting on the ground there now.
Right.
In the harbor. You can see there's 35 footers on the south side or on the north side.
Mhm.
35s on the north side and 30 footers on the south side. And you have some shorter ones when you get up against the bulkhead.
is it still gonna be double occupancy, even in the 35-foot spots?
Yes.
You've got 25 feet between finger piers.
I just wondered,
Both with a 10
when you
foot.
increase length, most time you increase width.
If you get two boats with a 10-foot beam, they should still be all right. They can
Yeah.
get 5 feet between them, right?
Yeah, I mean, we,
Should be.
we're back in that town, no, one more time.
This one.
Yeah, the only thing I like to see is maybe those middle sections, elongate those, widen that, and then see along the robbery boardwalk. It'd be nice if you could actually get a floating dock, along the boardwalk, because you really can't attach to
Right.
the boardwalk, more to the boardwalk there.
We also talked about
I think we
leaving
talked
that,
about that at one time.
leaving that flat area down there where the larger boats weren't, and wants to leave his mega yachts there, putting a floating dock, what you're talking about along there, so it makes it easier. to
And that's
access.
gonna say, you can continue that floating dock all the way
Way
through.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way your area that you leave, that you don't use, you could try that for a few years, just like it is for the large vessels.
Yeah, not more floating dock there.
Yeah, that's what I mean, just keep running that floating dock all the way down, that would give you a lot of transient slips there. People could just pull up there to dinner and that type of thing.
I think more people would use it than using it now.
A lot of people would use it, if you had a good guy, floating dock right along that, boardwalk, you'd be a lot more comfortable pulling in there. Oh, I can see people pulling in there, they walk off in town, go wherever they want to go.
All we have a job running them off is they stay overnight and don't charge.
I'm tired of both of those guys.
We'll make Vernon work harder, cause he's gonna have to patrol it.
Pull that down again.
I've been down a couple of times this year to collect. And we had a big boat come in, Vernon was white marlin fishing, and, I beat him at one night.
Knock, knock.
I mean, Cape Charles is making a ton of money right there. They're coming in and out. There's more and more big boats, I feel like, sailing up and down the coast, right? It's good for us. As a business downtown, I'm all about it. As a business.
You'll have to move your storefront.
Except I'll flip it around, that's right.
What transient people call, they're traveling up and down the coast, I direct them to Robert Reed Park, just for the fact that they're in walking distance to everything.
Right.
Down to the harbor, you're not in walking distance to nothing. You're not even a drink machine for a couple miles, so at least right there in town, the restaurants, the stores, the movie theater, the library, all that stuff. Scotch shop.
I know in some places, where they have transient slips or anchorages, they actually provide a building for their transients. They pay a minimal fee, and it's got like a shower, bathrooms,
We do that. We got that.
well, you got the bathrooms in
Out
town.
down, the showers out there.
It's got showers in there,
Yes, sir.
and it also had a place where you could connect to Wi-Fi. Of course, they got that with the library, so.
We're gonna have, well, we've got Wi-Fi now. We don't have Wi-Fi, we have an internet connection, a very high-speed internet connection provided by New Beam at Robert Reed Park. We could put, I guess Wi-Fi on that.
So Robert Reed Park has a high-speed internet for New Beam.
Yep.
And I got New Beam down the harbor, and it's terrible. Well, you know that, Carlton's talked about it every day.
Oh yeah, he could never get connected.
No, it's like one to two, when everywhere else is 50.
Yeah.
We can talk to New Beam, about that, but when they have some equipment on our water tower, and when they re-up their lease, we didn't get any money out of them for a lease, but we did get some internet service from Memorial Park, and Robert Reed Park out. It's there.
Couldn't get anything at the harbor.
But we let them put their
We didn't
tower
ask
on
them
our
for it.
property.
Yeah.
They got their tower on our property.
They did expand that tower.
We can certainly talk to them about it.
Might be a good thing. All right, does anybody on the committee have any announcements or concerns or general well wishes for general public? I do have a couple things. Once we get the boat dock at Memorial Park fixed, I think we need to really look at Fur Landing, because Fur Landing is starting to fall apart. Am I not getting that right? When you launch a boat down there, you got to be careful.
Yeah, you're doing it at your own risk.
Yeah.
It's probably got about a
It's-
10-foot gap underneath the pavement down there.
Mhm.
It's sporty. It's pretty sporty down there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there again, Fur Landing is that dock has been there forever and small, and I don't know when the last time it was upgraded.
That's a neighborhood ramp, because we really don't have any parking there, so.
No.
If you don't live in the neighborhood, it's kind of difficult to use.
It is, you're limited as far as usage because of parking. And I've seen more than one person drive off the end of it.
Oh yeah.
Unknowingly.
Now I went down there during a low tide one day, and there was a stop right there in the middle. Of course, it was worn out. But
Mhm.
there was a stop there at one time, and I don't know if it'd be a good thing to go put that back, or because signs are useless. you might as well take all the signs down.
Signs are for lawyers.
Yeah, nobody looks at the signs.
Mm.
But I also know that ramp was put in, just like all the rest of the ramps, when boats were 16 foot long and 25 horsepower motors on them, easy to pull in and out. These days, you don't see many of them. Yeah, it's unfortunate we don't have parking up there, because a lot more people would use it if we did.
Well, turning around is a problem. After 20 feet, you can't get turned around.
Right.
Just too launching. So, but you've only got so much that you can work with. That's it. You're
Yeah.
limited. And time's limited what they can do there.
Right.
Yeah.
And are they keeping, is Tommy keeping his ramp, or have they done away with that?
That's done away with.
Done away with it.
He
So-
just all he had was just use of it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's just another
Yeah.
owner there. So,
Right,
and nothing else exists there.
right. So that's gonna put a little bit more pressure on Fur Landing.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
It will. Yeah. And or whatever.
And my last statement is, I heard it again, and I've brought it up before. When the county started to impose their ramp fees, and then they sent out a free window sticker, that's got everybody on the island saying, well, I pay taxes on the island, can't I get a free sticker to use a town ramp? And I'm like, no. I said, the money you pay in helps support, getting the ramps fixed, and they still buck me on it and say that the ramp fees need to be done away with if you pay town taxes. If you pay personal property taxes on the island, they want a free town sticker, but
But like you said, all that $20, every bit of it, 100% of it goes to,
fixing the ramps.
and actually, we're doing a Memorial Park ramp, and we don't have enough money in the fund, and we're taking it out of the harbor fund. So,
Right.
Because we fell short quite a bit on getting the ramp that we want at Memorial Park.
Right.
So we're borrowing it from the harbor fund. So it takes a lot, you get to work on your ramp, it takes a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
All that
understand.
stuff's getting more expensive all the time.
I told him I would pass it along. And I told him what the response would be. I told him I'd pass it
I
along.
think it's a bargain. The first boat's $20, the next boat's a buck.
Mm-hmm.
Buck. Where do you get anything for a buck? You can't get a Coke for $2 for a buck.
Well, you can, but,
And everybody that rents the stuff at the harbor gets one for free.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So,
And we're the cheapest in town.
It's a lot of money for us.
Actually, it's not. Go to Greenback.
Yeah.
Get a slip at Greenback. How much it is.
It's a lot better than,
I wouldn't get a
where
lot
we were
short over
behind the
there.
motel.
Uh-huh.
And
Mr. George.
You know, for that slip ramp and whatever you pay for a business license, you're operating a business there. You know, when y'all first started, y'all were at Daisies.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not really, I'm just,
I don't know.
They're reasonable compared to.
I'll be
other
honest, I think the price
places.
is great, honestly, I think you guys are undercharging for the ramp.
Well-
Because, I mean, you keep everything as affordable as possible. If, like you said, Cape Charles, you wanna launch out of there, you're starting to pay, they're gonna start charging you. So,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be $20, I heard they're talking about raising out to $50 to drop in. Wow. It's a lot of money.
Your next, I think your next project's gonna be a little bit more parking at Warren Park.
Well, we talked about that.
Yeah,
We
that's-
wanna use the ball field.
After we put these two more shriners.
We do have the land mass to do that, and I'm still gonna have done a sketch at it, but I've got it.
Right.
Whatever.
A few more slips, because everybody's gonna switch everything. Switch back to Warren Park.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
That would be
that doesn't
good.
concern this committee. That's a different committee.
That would be good though. to get
Oh, yeah,
some more
definitely.
with that.
You're gonna get a lot of resistance on that ball field, think about the dog park. It was gonna go there, and that got a lot of resistance on that.
Yeah, but it wasn't resistance because of the ball field. And the ball field's gonna be maintained, it's just gonna be smaller. There'll still be a ball field.
Will be maintained.
I'm not answering that. It'll be updated.
Arthur,
Sir.
the federal government has X amount of dollars it releases each year for intercoastal waterways, north-south. And that came to attention of this Eastern Shores Navigation Waterways Advisory Panel, which I sit on. So I submitted Lewis Creek as a potential site for it. This will be a couple years down the road if you get it.
Right.
but I took keeping into this theme here of transient and all like that, and plus the fact that particular part of the waterway doesn't just affect Chincoteague. And I submitted roughly the number of slips that you have at Greenbackville, what you have at Captain's Cove, what you have at Carbon Hall, like that.
Right.
And also put forth it's not just the Islands District, but it affects the Atlantic District as well,
Right.
like that, to at least get it on the top of the list of Accomack County. So that's, so if it does come to fruition, or begins, the wheels begin to turn, you know.
Everybody don't know the committee that you're on, too.
But it'll be like I say, at least a year, maybe
Maybe
longer. I was, you know, and
What's the name of that committee?
Bill and Joe is behind as well, and that's I just submitted this to
Waterways
it.
Committee.
But you know, when it comes to pass, it gets closer to it. If it does look like something, you know, we'll revisit again here. But it'd be nice to have the
Now,
time
would
to
that-
sell.
Would that go from Lewis Creek over to underneath the mainland, or is it just Lewis Creek?
That Lewis Creek, that above the creek itself,
Yeah.
opposite
Coming out.
Don Leonard Park there,
Yeah.
that section there, as far as being, you know,
Yeah. Let's build that a little bit.
bridge up, and it always has been a problem place. But, you know, you don't have the commercial traffic, though you do have commercial traffic
You
going
got
down
a
there.
lot of commercial.
But you do have a lot of recreational stuff there as well, too. And also, in just the note I sent them there, that we also have transient stuff coming from an active inlet north of us, as well as this, because a lot of this stuff down south here is like dead end, coming to mainland active inlet like that, you know.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you have a lot of people. So we'll see what
Right.
happens out of that.
Yeah, I've actually been skipping Lewis Creek and going around Phillip Shoals.
Uh-huh.
You can do it, you just gotta watch out, there's a lot of live sand shoals out there, but you
Lewis
can do
Creek
it.
wouldn't have as much traffic if Queenstown was opened up a little bit. Right now, everybody from Captain's Cove and Greenbackville can't get through Queenstown unless you got a flat bottom skid.
I don't think you've ever been able to do that, Ed.
Right.
Go from Captain's Cove out Queen Sound and to the ocean.
I mean, it's only about.
Every time I go to take my boat, lift my boat up in Greenbackville, that's where I go. I sail up to Queensland.
Yeah.
But here's the deal.
Oh, right.
You're restricted by the bridge.
Uh-huh.
Any vessel over there that's got any kind of a structure to
Antennas or
it cannot
towers.
come through there, you know.
Huh.
So
Lots
it's
of
a
small
creek, the
boats.
bridge, whatever like that. They buoyed it up and they buoyed it up and they buoyed it up. And it changes every year like that. They try to do it, put it that way,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, that's out of my sailing
Well,
area.
that's
I don't know.
out of your jurisdiction as well,
I
so.
stay away from there.
Yeah.
That's like a danger zone.
And Lewis Creek was part of the federal channel. I
And that's why the funding would be there.
believe. Queen Sound.
No,
No.
no. It's a buoyed channel way, you know. So.
And the Coast Guard still uses that, so.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Danny.
Well,
Anybody else, Chris?
Yep.
Mike?
Nope.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
all right.
Aye, aye. I do.